Yo. Salam, guys. You already know who it is. It's Thoughtful Banter here. I'm your host, Mahdi. Today, we have a very special episode of the Thoughtful Banter podcast. We got all the way from Texas. We got the boy Zunair. Woo! Make some noise.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Assalamu alaikum.
Mashallah. Zunair, we're so happy to have you.
Alhamdulillah. I'm glad to be here. It's been a long time in the works. Let's just say
sir.
that. It's been a really long time in the works, but alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. You're here for the Matafaq conference. I'm happy we were able to get you.
Yes.
Here for that. And I'm here with my co-host, Hussein.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, man, it's good vibes. Before we get started, shout out to patreon.com//thoughtful banter. If you want to support these things happening, make sure to go give us your money. Inshallah.
We just bought a whole bunch of new equipment, basically, specifically for this interview, but obviously we'll be using future episodes with all the Patreon money that had been donated to us throughout the year. So thank you guys so much. Thank our patrons. And that is Ali, Jordan, not TJM anymore.
Oh yeah, TJM.
TJM left us. Muhammad, Latifa, Justin, and Ahmad very recently. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. We wouldn't be able to do this podcast without you.
Yes, sir. So we have our wonderful, esteemed guest here with us, Zunair. I'm going to obviously let him talk about himself, but beforehand, I want to give a quick introduction. If you're on Shia TikTok, you know who he is. Inshallah, he's made some quality content in the past. We want to there's a lot of Muslim TikTokers. I don't want to shout out anyone and be like, these people are bad, so we want to have them. But I'll say that I think it's fair to say that we want to have every single Muslim TikToker on the show. So we have him on because we believe he has some of the qualities that we aspire towards, as well as Muslim content creators. He has a certain level of thoughtfulness to his content.
But
so a certain amount of thoughtfulness that we aspire to have as well. So Zunair, thank you for joining us.
Alhamdulillah, guys. I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's an honor, honestly. I've been keeping up to date with your guys' content for a while.
Alhamdulillah.
I heard about the podcast, I'd say, I don't want to say over maybe a year ago, but I want to say maybe a little less than a year ago. And I was like, yo, I kind of really like what these guys are talking about. I think it was the episode where you guys were kind of talking about navigating racism within our communities, right?
Yeah, so that was actually one of our very first episodes, and that was about a year ago. So in February, we started. February 21, we started, yeah.
Okay, yeah. And I saw that, right? And I was like, yo, that's what's up. I really love what you guys are doing, and of course, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you guys, and inshallah, grant you guys the ability to continue doing what you're doing. Because I think what you guys are doing, it's a niche that hasn't fully been fulfilled, especially within the Muslim, I guess, internet sphere of this kind of there are I guess you could say other Muslim podcasts out there, right? Now, if you add the filter of Shia on top of that, right, there are some other Shia Muslim podcasts out there, but specifically run by the youth, for the youth, with I guess that's kind of a twist you guys have. It's again, everybody's unique, but you guys are unique in your own special way. It's honestly, man, it's amazing.
Thank you so much. And again, we appreciate you being here. Yeah, thank you so much.
Alhamdulillah, man. I'm glad to be here.
I'm speaking like that. You mentioned something you said there's a lot of Shia, there's a lot of Muslim podcasts. And then there's even less Shia podcasts, the Muslim space in general. I think it'll be something interesting to talk about because it's very complex. I feel like we're at a position where it's kind of like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. On one hand, it's we want Muslim content creators to be a thing because I'm addicted to social media. I don't know about you guys. I love scrolling on my phone and looking at content.
COVID didn't help. COVID didn't help.
It really didn't. So I'm like, okay, if I'm going to be using this thing, it's going to be a part of my life now. I want some Muslim influencers on it, but it seems and I want your opinion about this because I'm not on TikTok at all. I've made it haram for me to be on TikTok because I know I'm so prone to being addicted to social media. But it feels like anything you put out there can be prone to criticism no matter what. If you do something too religious, for example, people are probably thinking, who is this guy, bro? Are you sinless, bro? But then if you do something that's a little chill, it's astaghfirullah, bro. The uncle comes up to you in the masjid
Muslim, bro, we're Muslim, fam.
Astaghfirullah, bro. You gotta represent. Do you feel like you're pigeonholed like that?
Oh man, that's a couple questions that for sure need to be answered. Man, I rephrase the question real quick. Let me say it again.
Take your time
Yeah.
answering. So I did kind of give you three things.
Yeah.
I want to know first, how do you feel whenever you're making content? Do you feel like you're struggling to strike
not
a balance?
give off the holier than thou, I guess, traits.
Yeah.
No, yeah, man. I completely agree, but I think, you know what, that's a part of the game. For me personally, right? Alhamdulillah, I always try to maintain the image on social media of the person that I am in real life,
Mhm.
right? And I think it's something that it's super important. It's super important. Unfortunately, you know, I've met various, I guess you could say, Muslim social media influencers, if you want to call them that, you know, which in real life, like, mashallah, on the internet, you know, I'm no one to judge. Again, like, mashallah, this brother on the internet, amazing personality. In real life, amazing as well. But in real life, you know, they also have certain things that are extremely evident that I'm like, yo, like, this is kind of bad looks, man, bad looks. And then when you need that, when you kind of, I guess, realize that, you slowly start to distance yourself. And again, I'm never one to get too close to any of these internet personalities, bro. I think, man, I think it's, again, like, there are hadiths out there, right, from Imam Ali alayhi salam, where it says that you should aspire to have as many friends as possible. But one thing a lot of people don't realize is he means a lot of good friends, you know. So not every, I guess, like Tom, Dick, and Harry, you know, or Muhammad, Jafar, and Ali, you know, I guess you could say, should be your friends. You know. You should aspire to have as many of those, but you should also aspire to have as many people with amazing qualities and good qualities that you want reflected in yourself and in them as your friends. So yeah, man, I guess it's a line you have to work on, and I think a lot, especially when it comes to making Islamic content, right? And again, this just goes for anyone who ever wants to pursue, I guess, the Islamic studies route and then go and do like tabligh, you know, go do da'wah, I guess, you know, is the very first thing, right? Is self-reform, right? The Quran calls upon us to self-reform ourselves. You know, the Holy Quran, it says, you know, shield yourself and then your families from the hellfire, right? And it says specifically yourself first and then your families. Whenever it comes to anything within life, right? Anything you want to ever succeed in, self-reform is the very first thing. And especially when it comes to this, right? Because you're trying to propagate and spread the message of the religion of Islam, man, you have to be on your toes. You have to be, and again, we're not infallible beings. We're not sinless beings, right? But there are certain things that you can put in place. There are certain practices that you can learn to adopt to prevent yourself from, I guess, committing certain mistakes, which when you're in this type of field, when you're doing, I guess, making this type of content, can really be taken and blown up right in your face, you know?
And I think
you can be having a bad day, right? And then you tweet out something because you don't have control over, like, you know, I guess your Twitter fingers, you know? You also had a podcast on that, which I listened to.
Twitter fingers.
It was in May of 2021, I believe.
Around something
around the time where the Palestine protests were going. If you guys, whoever's listening, I really recommend you guys listen to that. It was a good one. I really liked it.
I was very frustrated in the episode. But you mentioned something. I just want to go back to it, and basically carrying yourself in a certain way when you're engaging on social media and with different kind of followings, especially on TikTok, because, you know, a lot of stuff is on TikTok. And I think the idea is that you always want to act in a dignified manner. The goal is not to be like holier than thou, or I'm more religious than you, or you're not as religious as me. It's to always act in a dignified manner. And even when you make a mistake, also acknowledging that mistake in a dignified way.
I completely agree. Yeah, man. It all goes down to, look, you have the capacity to make certain mistakes, but you also carry the capacity within you to help yourself avert yourself from committing those mistakes, right? And it's really important. It's really, really, really important that I think first and foremost that whenever you get into this field of, I guess, making quote unquote Islamic content, right? Or just making any sort of content that has to do with the religion.
On the internet.
On the internet. That you really, really, really have to pay attention to. You really have to have control over yourself. You really have to have control over yourself. Because, look, you might be having a bad day. You might see some guy left a hate comment. Oh, man, you guys are this, the Shia is kafar, this, that. All of a sudden, you start going in, you know, like, first of all, like, I don't even think you should be engaging with these people. You know, like, I would never certainly engage with these people. but someone who might, be offended by this, or might be, maybe having a bad day, maybe it's raining outside, they just got rained on, they're walking on the street, our car came by and splashed some mud on them, all of a sudden, their new Air Force Ones are dirty,
ruined.
are ruined. And then they see this guy who's calling him a kafir, he's like, I've had it. And then he starts going on this rant on Twitter. And unfortunately, you know what? And this is kind of a callback to, I guess you could say, the Twitter fingers episode that you guys had, right? Unfortunately, we also see this practice take place amongst a lot of the older generation within work when it comes to the Islamic field. I'm not going to say any names or anything. Unfortunately, amongst some of the shayukh, amongst some people who we should really look up to. And it's sad, bro. It's sad, and you see the repercussions of this. You see the repercussions of this, because one thing you always have to really, 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 and this is something I learned the hard way, man, is anything you post, it never gets deleted. Someone, some way has access to it. You can try your best. You can go, you can go to the depths of the internet. You can DM 100 people. Hey, take this down, take that down. Oh, you can, delete this. You can hire this software to delete this. It's never going to go away. It's never going to go away. And at one point you have to live and learn with your mistakes, right? And you have to grow from them. And if you don't grow from them, man, oh man, when it comes to this stuff, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, definitely.
Big trouble.
Definitely. So one more question from me, and then I'll hand it over to Mahdi. And so existing in the social media space and, potentially trying to make money from these things, right? There's always that balance you have to strike between, like, okay, how much do I want to sell out and how much do I want the bag, and how much do I just want to focus on, like, creating good content. Like we struggle with this all the time. Like some of the stuff we talk about, not a lot of people are going to want to hear, obviously. Like there's not a large demographic for some of the things we talk about. And so we're always kind of in this constant struggle of like, do we just want the views and do we just want the money, or like, do we want to stay true to ourselves? So how do you yourself, and again, especially on TikTok, like I feel like TikTok is like one of the worst places for this. Yeah. How do you kind of strike that balance?
Bro, so first and foremost, right, I guess my rate of posting on TikTok, right, over, I guess, the past 2.5 years of doing this, I guess it's been 2.5 years.
I think for 2 years?
I think it's been 2 years.
Wow.
I think it's been, no, I started in 2019, if I remember. My rate of posting has decreased drastically, even as of the time of recording this, right? The last time I posted was in like January. It's March right now. You know?
Nice.
It's the end of March, actually, right? So I think, again, bro, it goes down to having that diligence in life. You know, I really think, right, and speaking from my perspective, because when it comes to this, I guess, Islamic content, it's not just something that I want to make and then get on with my life, you know, go work a 9 to 5. No, like, I truly, from the bottom of my heart, love this religion. Like, I want to study, whether that be here in the West or overseas. We'll see, inshallah. We'll see what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has planned for me. But I know if I want to reach a certain stage in my life, right, if I want to be someone who other people, not even that, just someone who really wants to come to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right, I need to start having diligence in my life, right?
Yeah.
I need to start being cognizant of how my actions today are going to reflect 10, 20, 30 years later. Because again, it goes back to that thing where you might think it's gone, but it's never really gone. And again, you see it, man. You see, like, with some personalities that we have, right? There's like a compilation on YouTube of stuff they said in the past and stuff they said now.
Yeah.
And you guys probably know what I'm talking about.
I do know.
You don't need to go into details, right?
I don't even need to know who. It's happened to so many different people.
It's happened to so many different people.
I get it. Yeah. It's rough.
So you really need to be, again, you need to have that volition, I guess, 24/7, which is hard to maintain, right?
Especially because people start posting at such a young age, and the algorithm is not this, like, the way the social media changes your mind is, it's not promoting you to think stuff clearly. It's like, new trend, I gotta hop on that. That doesn't give you enough time to think about if this is some video that you would want to be played at the masjid 20 years in the future, for example.
Exactly. And that, unfortunately, I'll admit that was something I fell into when I first started, I guess, like, making content on the internet. You know, I didn't have enough volition behind my actions 24/7. And the thing is, right, I recommend, if you can't do that, if you can't constantly control what you're going to be posting out, and you want to, you know, post on like a regular daily basis, just stop posting. Honestly. You know, the thing is, right, it's so crazy how society has kind of like formulated the mind of man to think, right, where we think the end all be all of life nowadays is what's on this, you know, on this like 8, 9, 10, 11 inch screen in front of us, you know. life
The
is
screen
more,
that keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, the screen
By
that
the
gets
way,
that keeps getting bigger
the
and bigger.
smartphone's going to be an iPad.
Yeah.
And then, you know.
It's gonna be folded. You're gonna fold it into your pocket.
Yeah.
You know, before you know it. And it's crazy because where society is now, it's formulated man to think that, you know what, this is it. Like
Yeah.
who I am on the internet, that's what matters. What other people think of me, that's all that matters.
It's hard because
if I'm not
it's
active on the
designed.
internet, you know, if I'm not active on social
Yeah.
media, like I'm a nobody. No, man, no.
Dude, it's hard because
life
it's
is more than
been
this. Life
designed
is
to
more than
make
this.
kids think that though, because you get all that, you get all of those chemicals that you get from like a social interaction,
Yeah.
like at a cocaine level, at like a 14-year-old's mind, and like, you know, we're in quarantine. If you're lonely, you know, so it's like your brain is hungry for like that kind of attention and validation. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
And
yeah.
every human, you know, seeks attention and validation in some way,
For
shape,
sure.
or form. You know,
Yeah.
it's something you can't deny, right?
yeah,
Now, how you go about attaining that, that's what really matters at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Are you going to, for instance, and again, speaking from experience, you know, sacrifice your dignity
Mhm.
almost to gain that those views, those clout? Or are you going to go about it in a more professional manner? You know,
yeah,
there are ways to satisfy, I guess, that carnal desire man has, right?
mm-hmm.
You just have to go about finding it. And
Yeah.
I think, unfortunately, a lot of us have been bamboozled into thinking that social media is the only outlet when it's not.
yeah,
Especially within like the past, I guess, couple of months, alhamdulillah, as I've kind of like moved slowly away from social media and focused, you know, a lot of my work on like a personal level within the community, I can say, right, that I'm more happier, alhamdulillah, than I've ever been in my life.
yeah.
And if you were to tell me,
relate to
and if
that.
you were to tell me, you know what, a year and a half ago, that I would be happy in a stage where I don't post that much, where I lose followers, where, you know what, I don't get as many likes, and I would be happier than I am at that point, I'd be like, you're joking, bro. No way. You
Yeah.
know? But again, that's one of the things that you have to come to realize. You really have to understand that, yo, man, there's more to life than this. I promise there's more to life than this.
For
And it's
sure.
hard to break out of that. It's really hard to break out of that because we see the impacts of social media on people. Social media, it's one of those things, right, where there's so many positive impacts. There's a lot of negative impacts. It's just one of those things you have to navigate.
How many followers on TikTok do you have? Because like I'm not on TikTok at all. I just know someone was showing me like you're big, like, hey yo, check out this, and I was like, oh, hi. And you have very good production quality, by the way. Like at least in the last video I saw, it was smooth, it was clean, you know.
Shout out my boy Salman, man.
Okay.
He's the one that provides me with all the camera
Mashallah.
equipment. May Allah bless him, man. May Allah lengthen his life. He's an amazing guy. Amazing guy. Check out Sal's Media Productions.
Yeah.
That's my first
Plug.
shout out of the day. There's a lot more plugs to come, all right? There's a lot more
Yes,
plugs.
sir.
But I'm gonna plug my man real quick. He's been an amazing friend of mine. And he's always been someone who's been super open and honest and just an amazing personality overall.
Mashallah.
So he helps me a lot with, I guess, the more recent videos I have. I just pull up to his crib. He sets up the camera. He's like,
Yeah.
yo, Zunair, I'm gonna go study, bro. I got a calc test tomorrow. You can be here as long as you want. Don't worry. And I'm like,
That's
I
what's up.
appreciate it, man. Love you so much, bro.
He's got the lights
Shout
and
out
the
Salman,
camera.
man. Real talk. What were we talking about again?
No, like how many followers do you have? on
Oh
TikTok?
man. So I guess, man, like maybe like 250,000, right? Right.
He's like, you know what I mean? Just only slight. I don't know.
It's not again, it's like it's one
maybe
of
a
those
250,000.
Yeah, I think maybe
Oh my
like
God.
239, 40K, something like that. And again,
That's a lot, dude. I can't even like that. That's a big number to wrap my head around. Any kind of social media following on any platform, bro. Does that get to you? Like, is it stressful?
stressful in what aspect that I have to like
Any aspect.
Oh,
Like,
man.
how does that make you feel? That's a big number, bro. Like, if the podcast was on that number, I'd be like, I'd be overthinking a ton.
and you'd have
Yeah,
an
just-
LED light, LED, what's it called, a neon sign that says thoughtful banter.
Just speaking personally, like again, if I knew that, like I think part of the reason this works, in general, I'm really kind of like hesitant about putting my presence online, and like Mahdi convinced me to do something like this where I'm literally just speaking, and sometimes you can tell in our episodes, like Mahdi will just be talking and he'll ask me a question, and it'll take me a while because I'm literally like going through every single word as I speak it, you know. And
you have to. That's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
You have to.
But I'm just saying, if I had like 240,000 listeners or like followers or something, I would feel like I had such a heavy like responsibility on my shoulder, honestly. So how do you navigate that, or do you even feel that?
Honestly, it's not that I'm not grateful for it. Alhamdulillah, I'm grateful for it. But it's one of those things, right, where I guess I've gotten used to in a weird way. And I honestly don't think it's that big of a...
You're 20 right now, right?
I'm 20, yeah.
So you've been doing it for 3 years?
I've been doing it since I was like 17, turning 18.
So yeah, so you have practice, you know?
Yeah, it's one of those things, right, where I've kind of gotten used to, right? Though I don't think it's like that crazy of a number. But I'm grateful for it, you know? It's, I don't know, man. It's what people ask me that. It's just something I just never like talking about, you know? Because it's like, yeah, man. But alhamdulillah, at the end of the day, alhamdulillah.
All right. So I'm going to ask this question, and it's a little bit personal, so be as open or not open about it as you want. I'm not going to force anything out of you. But I'm going to tell you how...
So the guy off camera holding the gun, he's gonna lower it, right?
Yeah, he's going to lower it. Don't worry. But I'm just going to tell you basically how I found your content and then my initial interaction with it. And then now I see like there's been a very drastic change. I just wanted you to walk me through that process. Well, of course. First, I'm gonna let you know about like, and obviously you've already heard this, but I got to let the audience know. So seeing your content whenever you started, I thought you were the cringiest. The cringiest. Like, I was like, oh, this is just another cringy Muslim TikToker. And what's worse is that he's Shia. So that was like the cringe is going on Shias now.
He's letting us down.
Exactly.
He's letting us
like
down.
At least if it was like, you know, I'm not gonna say, we'll probably cut that out. But anyways, it was worse. I thought it was even worse potentially. I was like, oh my God, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And even your Islamic videos, even some of this, I agreed with some of the stuff you were saying in your video. I was still like, oh my God, I was just like inside, just like shriveling up inside, and you know. And so I stopped watching you, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't have TikTok.
I don't blame you.
I don't have TikTok anyways. So I like stopped watching. Whenever something would come up, I'd be
I
like,
don't really recommend anyone really watch TikTok. Honestly, like even myself, right? I never used the app.
Yeah. So I just
completely honest, I never used
your
the
video would come up. I just like skip it. But then at some point, I legitimately noticed a change in like the feelings that I was having towards your content and the content itself, right? And so I was like, wow, this is a lot more tolerable. You know, it's a lot more tolerable. Yeah. And then basically I traveled to Texas. I got to know a lot of people over there. Yeah. I knew some people that I respected, spoke highly of you and thought highly of you as well. And then I began to see like, I began to see that shift and change even more. Right. And so I want you to just walk me through that yourself. Like personally in your journey of creating content, how did you start from here, absolute cringe? Would you acknowledge yourself? Yeah. You know, and to
everything you said up
else.
to this point, keep it, bro. Keep it.
Okay.
No, I want you to keep it. No, because I completely agree. You know, bro, my journey when it comes to social media, right? First and foremost, it's not something that I usually talk about, right? Or I try and publicize because it's one of those things, right? Where I truly believe that who I've become from where I was solely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it was for my own good. It was for my own good. It was literally self-reform for myself, right? For the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's one of those things, right, where if I ever talk about it, I never, ever want anyone to assume that, oh, you know what? He did this for clout, this, that. Oh, man. You know what? It's one of those things that, because
let's be honest though, there's really like not that much clout in being like more religious.
There's really like no benefit from it. You know what I'm saying?
No,
like,
in the sense of talking about this, in the sense of talking where people are like, oh, you know, he did, if he was genuine in what he did, he would never go and talk about these things. You know,
I see. But we're asking you.
But you're asking me, and you guys, and you guys do believe that, you know, it'd be beneficial for someone to hear it. You know, because someone might be in the same position that I was in. So okay, let me talk you guys through it. I started posting content on the internet on October 25th, 2019. It was the very first video I believe I posted. It was like this like joke video with my friend, right? It was at the time there was this challenge where you would walk in the mirror, say something, and then something funny would happen on the third time, right? It was this trend back in the day. So I saw this, you know, I was like, yo, I got a really funny idea. It's a video that, honestly, looking back, is in poor taste, right? So I'm not going to go into detail, but it was, at the time, it was very funny. And it was actually, in fact, it was so funny, right, that it got 600,000 views.
Oh, wow.
And at the time, I was like, 600,000 people saw me? That's crazy. Like, I can't fathom that. And then I was like, this TikTok stuff, like, let me make more videos. So I started making more and more videos. You know, I made cool videos like, you know, about being Pakistani, some very stereotypical videos, videos about being Muslim, you know, that were super cringy, you know, but they got lots and lots and lots of views. You know, like I'm talking like six figures, like 100K, 200K, 300K. Sometimes they would reach seven figures. They go up to like 1 million, 2 million, 3 million.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things, right? As you said earlier, right? It's we've kind of like made this stuff like cocaine for kids, you know?
Yeah.
Where the more they get of it, the more they get, like they want more and more and more and
Yeah.
more. And I fell into that cycle, you know? So here I was, right? You know, I was making videos, but at the same time, right? It was also a portion of my life where I was slowly getting more and more and close to the religion, you know? It was a portion where, man, let's say, it was a portion where I was slowly getting more and more close to the religion, and the love I had for the religion was always something innate since a child, right? But it was that time where I was like, all right, Zunair, we got to start taking this stuff seriously. You're getting older, you know, you're about to go to college, so you really got to start working on yourself,
Like,
you know?
everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
There comes a point in every Muslim's life where you have to decide to choose Islam for yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
So it was, at the same time, I was also undergoing that journey, right? And I always had a knack, I guess, for public speaking, you know. So in my center, you know, I'd give like the odd, like, you know, speech on Muharram, you know, 2-minute, you know, youth speech, talk about this, talk about that, you know. So flash forward, right? The year is what? That was at the end of 2019, going through 2020, you know, Corona. I started making a lot, you know, more religious content. Posted some things, you know, about Shia Islam, and that it filled that niche, right? That wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
That I didn't even know was there, right? It was just something that I was super passionate about, right? Talking about the misconceptions about Shia Islam. Some people know me from that, right? All those videos are gone now, by the way. So they're all gone.
Yeah.
But inshallah, coming soon, some more reformed videos on that same topic.
Bring it back, but
about,
reformed.
about the misconceptions about Shia Islam,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But yeah, so when Corona hit, right? Corona hit March of 2020. Now it's March of 2022. It's been 2 years, man. Crazy. You know, everyone was just, I guess, on their own. And it was that period of time where I really just started grinding on this stuff. Like I every single day, man, I'd be watching this lecture, that lecture. And it was one of those things, right, where I was really in love with this stuff. I really fell in love. This concept of continuously learning and learning new things. I was like, yo, this feeling of knowing stuff is amazing. Like, it's something, it's crazy. So as that goes on, right? That goes on. Let's flash forward to November of 2020, right? I actually come here to the DMV, right? I link with some of my friends and we make a bunch of like very cringy videos, right? That really pop off.
I can tell it hurts you.
Yeah.
I can tell it hurts you. My face. You said, Alhamdulillah.
No, and may Allah bless those guys. You know, may Allah bless those guys. They're alhamdulillah succeeding in life. I keep up in touch. I keep in touch with them to this day. And alhamdulillah, may Allah bless those brothers. So we made some, you know, videos that really popped off, right? But at the same time, right, it was around that November, December, January time where I was like, all right, Zunair, you know, you want to get serious, but now it's time that you really have to, you know, implement certain practices in your life if you want to reach a certain stage, right? So at that point, I spoke to a very close friend and older shaykh and mentor of mine. I was like, bro, like, man, what should I do? Like, you know, I'm in this situation. I actually asked him, you know, it's actually funny. He knows who he is. I actually asked him, I was like, hey, so this money I make off of TikTok, it uses haram music in it. Is this money halal? And you know what he told me, right? And I still remember what he told me to this day. And this really clicked for me. He was like, you're so worried if the money is halal. You know, what about the action itself? Ask yourself that.
Oof.
And he didn't phrase it like that, but like he phrased it in a lot gentler tone. But that's what he was basically saying. And after he said that, again, this is someone I respect highly, bro, right? This is a friend, a mentor, a father figure to me, right? When he said this, it all clicked, right? And from that point, I was like, yo, what have I been doing?
SubhanAllah.
Because up to this point, right, I was like, there's nothing wrong with my actions. You know, I see people, they post even worse stuff on the internet. People post the craziest stuff on the internet. Comparatively, what I'm doing is not that bad, right? But then I thought to myself, I was like, Zunair, if you want to go and, you know, do work in the Islamic field in the future, right? Which up to that point, like I hadn't like fully made like a goal of mine, but it was something I was interested in, you know? Or if you just want to be someone who talks about religion, you got to clean up your act. And comparatively, right, your act in some people's eyes, there's nothing wrong with what you're doing. But in the eyes of the people who you want to become like, in the eyes of your role models, right, it's not something acceptable. You know? And it's one of those things that I realized. So from there on, man, and this is the thing I really, anyone who's listening, right, to anyone who wants to, who's chasing clout, man, don't do it, bro. Don't do it, man. Because you going down this path, right, you make dumb decisions, you post dumb stuff, you post dumb tweets, right? And then the hardest part, right, is cleaning that stuff up. Because, you know, you might think it's gone, but it's never really gone. It's never really gone. Someone has access to it somewhere. And I still deal with the repercussions of that stuff to this day, you know?
Yeah.
So then I had to go about, you know, cleaning up. I had to, like, you know, be like, I had to first go and archive a lot of my older videos, right? I had to go and delete a bunch of tweets. I had to go delete a bunch of Instagram posts.
Yeah.
You know, I had to really change up a lot of stuff. And it was hard. You know, at first it was very hard to make this drastic switch. But I was like, you know what? You understand that this is what you have to do. So now you have to do it, right? Mm-hmm. It's obviously like, you know, you're not going to change overnight. But you have to take that first major leap of faith, bro, right?
Of course.
You know, detach yourself from this stuff, right? This stuff isn't all that life's about.
It's
you know,
dunya, man.
You're going to, yeah. Well, yeah, man, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. And at first I was like, you know what, bro, but I really, like, this stuff makes me happy. You know, getting likes, getting views, all this stuff, like, makes me happy. As we, again, it goes back to that point. You know, this is cocaine for kids, bro. That's what it is, you know? But I thought to myself, you know what? If I'm sincere in what I do, true contentment can and only will be found within Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in order to do that, that's subhanallah. No. And again, like, I thought to myself, you know what, true contentment can only be found within Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How am I gonna ever be happy? You know, I might be happy right now, but in reality, what I'm really trying to do, right, and this is something a lot of people do, is they chase after things to fill that hole in their heart, right? They try and find contentment in other things, not knowing in reality what they're really trying to seek is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Sheikh Hussein Mekki, he was talking about that. Sayyid Hussein Mekki was talking about that in the Muslim Vibe podcast. Yeah. Actually, he was literally talking about the same thing. And I want to congratulate you too, by the way, because this is something so hard for us to, like, see. Takes a lot of awareness. And I know for sure, Zunair, like, I've been chasing clout since I was 14 unsuccessfully. And I think that was a blessing from Allah, because I think my ADHD brain, if I got, like, the attention, I may have never looked back on myself. And I'm just, you know, it's a very hard temptation, man. You get attention, there's a lot of possibilities that come with that. So it takes a lot to even be able to think about your actions. Cause like we're saying, like, for the fourth time, it's an addiction. You know, it's like social validation is, like, one of the most important things in the human brain. Like, that's what we're designed to want. And these apps are giving it to us, like, straight in, like, the purest form.
Right there, right then, right overnight. There. 1 hour, boom, you're viral.
Yeah, and you're not, you know, when you talk to someone in person to get social validations, it's a very different experience. Because you're there in person, you have, like, the actual, maybe, social anxiety you have to overcome to, like, speak to someone face to face. Like, you can't, it's a lot different, I'm sure, going to a room, like an auditorium of 1 million people and saying something wild versus, like, putting it, like, on your phone
on the
in your
internet,
room,
where you don't understand the social repercussions.
Exactly.
Where you don't understand that, you know what, your words and actions really do have an impact, bro, at the end of the day. And you gotta be careful.
Yeah, and it's not like those limits aren't there. It's not like those limits aren't there. It's just that we don't see them, you know? Like, and that's what makes it so hard. And it's a lot easier to lie to yourself and to, like, your audience, for example, because all you're doing is you're in a room with yourself. You're not actually with someone who will look at you like, is that actually the truth?
You really said that?
Exactly.
You really believe that?
Exactly. You're not in front of someone who will check you immediately after you say something.
Yeah.
You know?
And if on social media, if someone tries to check you, press the big red block button, you know, and then you don't have to deal with it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, man, it changes the way that we are cognizant of our actions. That's probably one of the biggest impacts that it has, where people you don't realize that what you're saying, man, really has an impact.
Mm-hmm.
What you're saying really has an impact.
Yeah. So moving forward with your TikTok, let's call it a career, right?
Man, you know what? That's another thing, you know, that I've really and that's another thing, you know, I've really tried to move away from, is that, like, image of a TikToker, bro. Because whenever someone says, Oh, you're that TikToker, right? The
Mm.
first thing that comes to my mind, you know, probably the first thing that comes to the mind of the person next to him that doesn't like, you know what I do,
Yeah.
is I'm in front of the camera like doing the renegade or something, you know,
Yeah.
like, you know, I get like that's kind of like the what surrounds like that word.
Okay,
TikToker.
let me rephrase it. Moving forward with your online presence, right?
Yes, man. Yeah.
What would you like? I guess what is the message now that you're trying to send and what you'd like to get out there with the content that you're producing? So like I'm just giving you an example. One of the main ideas that drove this podcast is we want to talk about things that are relevant to us that don't really get spoken about in the masajid by the scholars, and maybe in personal conversation. I understand why, right? The majority of the people that they're speaking to are not our age, or the majority of the problems that are relevant to them are not problems that we deal with. It's something that I understand. I understand why it happens, but the reality is that sometimes these things just don't get talked about, and maybe there's even an argument that they shouldn't be necessarily spoken about super publicly in a place like a masjid. I understand all of that, but that's one of the ideas that drove this podcast. So moving forward for you,
may Allah make y'all successful in that.
inshallah, inshallah.
I rate y'all on that, honestly, man.
Yeah, inshallah. So moving forward, what kind of is driving you as far as your content creation?
Look, man, when it comes to my, I guess, content creation, right? At the end of the day, I've gotten to the point where I can say it's all about quality over quantity, right? And it's about that quality, right? Having an impact on someone's life. If one person, right, sees what I post, sees, you know, some sort of infographic I post, some sort of video I post, right, and it benefits them in some way, shape, or form, right, that's all that matters, you know. And it's something that it's been a long time in the works to where I can say, you know, I'm comfortably in the position where I truly say that and I believe that. It's not just something that I'm saying, right? But at deep down, I'm like, oh yeah, I really low-key do care about likes. You know, I really do low-key care about views, you know?
We all do, yeah.
Yeah. But no, it's honestly, it's at that point where it's all about quality over quantity. And it's about that quality having some sort of impact on someone's life. Maybe educating them about some sort of topic, you know? Maybe they hear one good thing, right? They take one good thing from me and then they implement it in their lives. That's what I really try and aim for, man.
MashaAllah.
Yeah.
And I think this relates to not just Muslims. This relates to, I think, all content creation. I feel like, and I've worked with for a very short amount of time, I've worked with like a larger YouTuber. Like I was writing scripts for him, and like I saw like the inside a little bit of like some of this YouTube stuff and just, I guess, online content creation stuff. And I think that there's two groups of people. There's people who are chasing the algorithm,
Yeah.
and that mindset comes with posting as much as possible, working way too much, like being on your phone late at night and just being obsessive over this kind of thing. And then there's the people who know what they want to make.
Yeah.
It's not even particular to the platform. They have something that they want to provide. They want to provide value in a particular way, and they know what that is, and those people take that time to make it.
Yeah.
And it relates to like beyond Muslims. Like you see, there's a big difference between someone like I won't say negative names, but like Matt Diavella, for example. He's a YouTuber. He's like a filmmaker. He posts like once a month, you know, or like once every 2 weeks, and his videos look nicer. They're very precise. Like he's trying to bring like value to them.
Yeah. And to clarify, right? It's just so I don't come off as some like holier than thou personality, some guy who's reached this next level of irfan, mashallah, like, you know, he's detached himself from the dunya. It's not that, you know, I don't want like the content I produce to do good, right?
Of course, yeah.
But it's to the point where I'm not obsessed over whether it does good or not,
Yeah.
right? Or
You know
whether
it's
it goes
good.
whether it goes viral or not, because
Yeah.
I know if I'm doing this with a sincere, genuine intention, right? If a couple people take from it, right? And that's what I hear from a lot of my mentors and teachers, right? They run online blog publications, right? Or they have classes, or they make lessons, and it's stuff that maybe 30, 40 people see, right? 30, 40 people, right? And I asked him like, yo, like you gotta start branching out. Like, don't you want like more people to see your stuff? He's like, you know what? I'm fine if it's a small circle of people that take my work. If it's a small circle of people that take what I say and they benefit from it, that's all I need at the end of the day.
SubhanAllah.
And when I thought about, and when they tell me these things, right? And I think about that, I'm like, yo, bro, like, man, I'm fine, bro. I'm fine, man. Like, I'll be fine, bro. You know, if I just gotta come from a place of sincerity be genuine in what I do, you know. And yeah, man. But anyways, continue, bro. I'm so
No,
sorry
it's just
to cut
saying.
you off.
No. You didn't cut me off. I actually cut you off. I apologize.
No.
No, it's like I think that's what you're doing, and I think, mashallah, like, I think that's what we're trying to do as well. Like, at the end of the day, like, content, TikTok or YouTube doesn't make content good. Allah, like, I hate to get super deep, but Allah makes like the content good. Like, if we're doing it from like we're trying, aspiring to do it from a genuine place. I won't lie, man. You see the thumbnails I be making. I'm trying to get some clicks out here, bro. I would like to be able to make like money from the podcast enough that it goes in my pocket a little bit. But inshallah, we try to do it in a way that benefits us in the afterlife as well.
Yeah.
I wanted to
Inshallah.
ask: is there anything that you would like to plug, or any projects you wanna anyone you wanna shout out?
So I want to shout out a couple different things.
Okay.
You know, and if I don't remember something, and if someone afterwards reminds me, hey, why didn't you shout that out? Please forgive me. Right. I want to first and foremost shout out Mizan Institute. Mizan Institute. It's an amazing initiative created by Sheikh Amin Rastani and Sheikh Mehdi Rastani. They have a great team of instructors. It goes down to accessing deeper Islamic content for people like us here in the West who may not have access to the source material and texts that are oftentimes in Arabic or in Farsi, and they do a great job. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make them successful in what they do. Truly amazing stuff. I also want to shout out Iqra Online. Shout out Sayyid Ali Imran. That's the boy. Again, it's one of those amazing publication websites where, man, the stuff this guy's talking about, your average shaykh isn't talking about. So
and there are articles about literally everything. Like
Literally
anything you can think
everything.
of, there are articles about it on
literally
this website.
everything. That guy, man, may Allah bless him. And again, like, just shout out to all the family and friends, man. I wouldn't be able to do what I do, right? Not that I do something crazy, but I wouldn't be able to be the person who I am today without the love and support of my family and friends. And truly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed me with the ability to have amazing friends and family, right? And then meet amazing people like yourselves. And I'm not saying that only so you guys can blush, but no,
We're blushing. We are blushing though.
Alhamdulillah.
We are blushing anyways.
Alhamdulillah, man. No, it's been an honor to meet you guys, truly. And my final shout out is again Thoughtful Banter.
Hey. Again, thank you once again, Zunair, for giving us your time. Thank you for blessing our podcast.
It's been an honor,
with
bro.
your wonderful presence and your wonderful experience.
Oh,
no, all this stuff is important. I think it seems little, and it's probably better that you think of it as little. But inshallah, this will make an impact when it is played 30, 20 years in the future.
Oh man.
Inshallah.
Now I might
just think about
I might
like
have to deal with the repercussions of this 20, 30 years.
Bro, it's okay if you hit us up like, bro, delete that, bro.
Inshallah,
we
not,
got you.
inshallah
But
not,
just think like, there's probably maybe like a couple of Muslim kids on TikTok right now chasing some trends. They hear Zunair, they're like, oh man, he's got more followers than me. I'm looking up to him. But then they're like, oh, that could be my future. Let me just stop right now and like clean up my act. So
man. And
you're making waves, bro.
Inshallah.
Mashallah. Got it.
Before we close up, shout out Ma'rifa and the wonderful organizers over there. Their conference is what brought Zunair to this area. I'd like to think it was us, but no. He came from Ma'rifa, and this is the reason why we got to sit face to face. And this is not a boring Zoom interview. Otherwise, it would have been.
Specifically, Alex, whenever we initially came into contact, right, one of the things you were like, oh, let's interview Sunday. Let's interview
do it
this
on
time.
Zoom.
Let's do it
Yeah.
on Zoom. I was like, no.
We gotta do it in person.
We gotta do this in person because
Yeah.
I want this to be a quality podcast. No, I'm just kidding. Quality. No,
but yeah.
And again, like, I just wanted really to meet you guys. That's why. Like,
So shout out to Ma'rifa and all the organizers over there. Thank you once again, Zunair, for blessing Thoughtful Banter with your presence. I hope you guys have enjoyed
the
this
pleasure is all
podcast.
mine, man.
Peace out.
Bye-bye.
Walaikum assalam.